Welcome to the North of Tyne Combined Authority Cabinet meeting, the last meeting of the North of Tyne Combined Authority. We have some apologies. I'd like to welcome Alex, who's stepping in for Councillor Nick Kemp. Councillor Richard Wearmouth is unable to be here, as is Lisa Goodwin, our VCSC ambassador, and welcome everybody else to the meeting. I've received no declarations of interest. Should anything arise, please correct the record afterwards. Normally, if there is an announcement, it's quite a short announcement, but this is the last cabinet of the North of Tyne Combined Authority. And I just want to take this moment to reflect on a few things. I honestly think we have been an oasis of calm in a sandstorm of chaos over the past few years. When I walked through the door, I was outnumbered by press and cameras more than the staff. We tried to get some work done. We didn't even have pens for the whiteboard. Theresa May was Prime Minister. No sooner did we got our senior management team in place than we were into lockdown. We've had COVID, we've had Brexit, we've had fuel prices, we've had wars, supply chain chaos and cost of living crisis. And during that time, we have smashed our job creation target by 320%, creating pipeline of 5,377 jobs. We've saved through COVID, through our investments, another 3,000 jobs and more through supporting local businesses. We've got, through the work of the Housing and Land Board, a pipeline of over 2,000 homes on brownfield sites. We've levered in hundreds of millions of private sector investment. We've increased training courses from 22,000 to 35,000 a year. And we've supported carers, and we've made sure that we have policy, an inclusive economic policy, of leaving nobody behind. And some of the people that I've been out, and I'm sure all my colleagues have been out and met, this has turned a lot of people's lives around. And that's the thing that makes it really worthwhile. The groundbreaking work we've done in schools with child poverty prevention and oracy. And in 2019, we were quite late to the party in terms of devolution. Other mayoral combined authorities had been operating for a couple of years by then. And a lot of people said we had quite an underpowered deal. And if we look at what we've achieved in that time, moving into NEMCA, the new North East Combined Authority, which has the largest core budget of any combined authority in the country, with a bespoke trailblazer deal, we've leapfrogged everybody else, and we've caught up. And we've done it by working together, and with actually 2 mayoral combined authorities in special measures. That's not to be underestimated. So I just want to say a big thank you to all of the cabinet members, including those who've served in the past. Peter Jackson, Wayne Daly. Wayne's work on the early education work was, he really put a shift in on that, and it's paid off. Nick Forbes, who deserves a lot of credit for getting the first devolution deal over the line. Joyce, who put a lot of work into a lot of the social programmes. And Richard Dodd, who was a cabinet member for a while. And of course, Bruce, who was on the ball in terms of all the money and all the details in that first year. And a big thank you to the current cabinet members, Glenn and Richard and Carl and Norma, especially all your work on the Housing and Land Board, Norma. A thank you to you, Karen, and all the work you do in the inclusive economy space, and Nick with his portfolio on the economic sector. But a thank you to our colleagues from the LEP. And I have to say thank you to Andrew, the former LEP chair, and Lucy, who doesn't just turn up. Lucy puts a lot of work in and reads all the papers and actually adds a lot of value. And our VCSC ambassadors, who Robin initially, and now Lisa, who I meet with regularly, and a lot of good stuff comes out of this. Somebody said to me at a recent election hustings that if you tune into the North of Tyne meetings, all you see is people congratulating each other. And I think, well, you know, if you've done good work, you should announce it. But mostly, the reason that we work together well is because we talk to each other. And in politics, that is actually quite exceptional at the moment. So I want to say a massive thank you to the officer team, who are too many to mention. All those who supported me directly in the officer team, but the wider officer team, some of whom are here today. We've done a terrific job, and I do think we've got a fantastic culture that we are passing on in terms of work rate, in terms of going that extra mile. And a thank you to everybody in all our supportive boards, Bishop Christine and Tanny Gray Thompson, who chair the Inclusive Economy Board. Obviously, I've mentioned the Housing and Land Board as well, and all our delivery partners, because most of this is done with local charities or local businesses or our partners in the universities, and of course, our constituent authorities, who are, it's a combined authority. We really do work together on that. And there's been so many firsts that we've achieved, but particularly the first for devolution in the North East. We're looking forward to NTCA and what that's going to achieve, but we've proved what devolution can do. And I'll finish by saying, we are the quarrymen to NTCA's Beatles. So with that, let's get on with the detailed parts of the agenda.
Mayor, I'd like to just say something quickly, if
Please.
I may, to just add to that. I joined the party late, and I came in quite difficult circumstances domestically here. And I always found the North of Tyne very, a very welcoming project to be part of. One where I have been able to have my voice heard fairly and whenever I wanted to say something, I've always been treated with respect. And I think it's been a great honour, actually, to work with colleagues across political parties in this, and yourself, in this experiment, which has turned out to be a great success. And I think whilst this may not last forever, this may be the last meeting, the work that it has performed will. And so we will see projects and schemes and jobs and developments and business and more confidence within the people themselves within the area as a result of the work that we've done together. And I think that's fantastic. So all I would say is thank you very much to the officers team. Thank you to you and thank you to everybody else that's been involved, and especially to my political, even though they're probably a little bit wider than Mark politically, I would say, that's a joke, Karen. I would say thank you very much for the way in which I've been treated up to now, anyway. And it's been a great pleasure working with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I just add to that? It's often said that the mark of civilization is how any organisation treats its minorities. So that's great coming from you as a minority member, Glenn. Thank you. Norma.
Yeah, I would just like to take this opportunity to sort of thank everybody, to be quite honest, because if you go back to when we're trying to get this off the ground, there was lots of campaigns against devolution. People who didn't believe in it went out campaigning against it. But some of us decided that that was the way to go. We would work together. And I just think it was amazing how, well, from different parties, let's be honest, but we all agreed that we'd work together for the benefit of our residents. And that's why we are elected, to be quite honest, to do the best for our residents. And a great thank you, as far as I'm concerned, to our officers. They've been amazing taking us along this road, to be quite honest. And to my colleagues here who, we've never fallen out, have we? Which is amazing. Yeah, you heard that, did you? We've never fallen out. That's amazing. There's been a lot of agreement simply because we were mature enough to say this is for this region and our residents, and we're going to actually make a good job of it. So to everyone who's been involved in this, it has been a great success. And that is why our colleagues on the other side of the river, let's be honest, have come together, and they too believe that we can work together for the best of our residents. So that's something to look forward to. There is more to come. And I'm sure when that gets off the ground, we'll be demanding more and even more, because we now have proved that we can deliver. And to be quite honest, it's exactly based on what is important to our residents and for this region to survive and grow and develop. Thank you very much, Jim.
Thanks, Norma. Henry's also going to do the annual report, so if there's more comments, I don't know if you want to bring them in now or later. Unless.
While we're doing thank yous, it feels a little bit like the Oscar speeches, doesn't it? But I obviously came into this a bit later than some of the people around the table, and it's been a lot of work, but it's been it's been a really positive experience. As Glenn said, people have worked together, have been very generous with their time. It's been lovely to be involved in an organisation that actually has money to spend, but an incredible staff team also, including Ruth, who was incredibly supportive right up until her retirement. But thank you to, Lee is here, but the staff team that I've worked with have been incredible. They have, whenever I've suggested a half-baked idea or something that I was quite keen on possibly investigating, they have run with it and they have made it work and they have found the money to do it. And it has been a joy to be involved in. So thank you to the staff team particularly. And I look forward to seeing what the new Combined Authority is going to do next.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you. Right then, on the formal thing, can we have agreement that the minutes of the last meeting were correct? Yep, including the confidential minutes. Agreed. Thank you very much. So with that, Henry, we've all stolen your thunder, but this is the report, the final report of the North of Tyne Combined Authority.
Chair, I hate to prolong the Oscar speeches, but there's one more. So you have in front of you the a final report of the North of Tyne Combined Authority. You'll know about this time each year we publish an annual report which sets out what we've done together over the previous year and what that's meant for the communities, for the businesses, for the learners, for the public that we serve over that time. This year slightly different. We're reflecting over a longer period, gives us a chance to sort of pause and reflect on what we've done collectively and what the lessons that we draw from that might be as we move forward with wider regional devolution. So the piece of work I won't go into in detail, but you'll see it's really good piece of work. Lots of really great case studies of things that have been commissioned, delivered, done in partnership across the region. Credit to Stuart and the team for pulling that together in a way that looks and feels in keeping with the way I hope you as a cabinet wanted to see, and some really kind of high quality work that's gone into that. And you'll see within that some really good, strong examples of economic and place regeneration and some really good examples of inclusive growth in action, delivering on that promise that this is not just about bricks and mortar and the pouring of concrete, it's about people and their experience and how we make sure our model of growth in the region is as inclusive as possible in a region that covers city, coast and country and has a real diversity of need. So that's hopefully what that reflects. I have to say that the real story, though, is about relationships. It's about collaboration. I think a combined authority is only as good as the relationships it can build, and that it has. And I'm really grateful on behalf of the officer team for the quality of those relationships. So you've mentioned, Chair, some of those. I think it's right that I'd just pause and reflect on behalf of the team on those too. So our local authority teams, the chief executives and their teams have been really consistent and incredible, really, in terms of the quality of collaboration and joint delivery. This is, after all, the Ron Seal version of this is it's a combined authority. It does what it says on the tin. If it stops becoming that, it stops working. And I think that's a really great case study in how we can all lean into that. Our LEP, so Lucy is here, but also Helen, really good, strong collaboration across the piece and a lot of work over a long time, actually, to build a platform for what comes next. So big respect for that. We've had really strong support from our business community as a whole, both in terms of what we've done and how we progress devolution in terms of what comes next. Our chamber, CBI, Federation of Small Businesses all deserve really a lot of credit for that. And of course, our two universities north of the river, our colleges, skills and health partners. I mean, I could be here all day doing the WP Oscar speech, but a lot of people, you stand on a lot of shoulders doing this, and I think we you know, it's worth me saying that out loud because it's true and it's important. From the officer team's point of view, we've also benefited from really solid cross-sector, cross-party support from the Cabinet. That is really important to have a clear mandate for what we do and be able to deliver that. The Cabinet has delivered that through a really difficult period. If you'll, you know, sit back and reflect, 2.5 of the years we've had in our short life have been through COVID, and actually you can't get through that and deliver without a really good, strong political collaboration that provides a platform for everything that we do. So I know that the team would want to say thank you to the Cabinet for that, and it's been a real privilege to work in that environment, I think. Two things lastly. So first is another nod really to my predecessors in this role. Paul Hanson, Pat Ritchie, each had a spell as head of paid service for the Combined Authority, and again, building on the platform that they helped to create. You've got Jackie in the room, and John and Janice, who've been from day one really instrumental in making sure this organisation does what it's supposed to, actually. And of course, Ruth was mentioned, Ruth Redfern, Tom Warburton as well played a big part. You know, again, we're really hammering the point, really, that there's no one person delivers this. It's about the team. And then lastly, I wanted to reflect on that team at the North of Tyne, and you'll see some of that in my introduction to the report. A really fabulous team, and all credit to them. You know, this is all about really how they've worked together with you to deliver the outcomes that you'll see in the report. Clearly a lot of commitment, but a lot of skill as well, and a lot of aptitude to be flexible and work within an environment that's changed. I've got so much admiration for that team and the way that they've worked, and it's been great to be able to sort of clear the space for them and help them to do that. In terms of what next, I think the biggest legacy for this really is the quality of what comes next, and we have to be completely relentless in taking what's been good about this, learn the lessons of what's been less good, make sure the new Combined Authority benefits from those. So that's all I wanted to say today, Chair, and just extend the thank you to everyone else around the table, because we really do, from an officer point of view, appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Henry. I'm going to echo all of that. It's always difficult once you start name checking someone. You feel you've got to name check everybody. The place to feel left out. But I think you deserve a tremendous amount of credit for the role. I know, working closely with you, about how we've managed to get NEMCA off the ground, and all that time backwards and forwards talking to central government has made a big difference. And we've done it, you know, with real value for money. When the Treasury came and commissioned that Gateway review, they said the progress we'd made was remarkable. I mean, civil servants saying something is remarkable in itself. So thank you very much. Would anybody like to comment? Carl?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. The report says final report 2019 to 24, but for those keen watchers, you remember that November 2018 was the first cabinet meeting of this combined authority. And a lot has happened since then. A lot has changed in the politics of only Norma Redfern as the only person that was here from that first meeting. A lot of people have changed, you know, and the personalities have changed around the room. But one thing that hasn't changed is that the only reason we deliver at this combined authority is by working together. I don't think any one individual around the table can claim all the credit. It's about a team working together to get the right things done and achieve for our residents, which we absolutely have done enough of time. And I will get wrong of Norma for saying this, but I do just want to pay a special thanks to Mayor Redfern. Not only was there pens and a whiteboard when Jamie came to place, I know he must have been able to find them in his first day in the office, but not only was the pens and a whiteboard, there was plans in place and things ready to go. There was a working, functional combined authority with plans and priorities and jobs already coming through the door. And as Norma was the only one that was here from then, I just want to say special thanks to Norma, because there's a photo with the 7 leaders from the region in 2015 when they started discussing devolution, and not a single one of them are still a leader of a council except Norma. And she's done a hell of a lot of work. She was the first mayor of this authority as the interim. She's done a hell of a lot of work to ensure that the LA7 comes into being. I'm trying to thank Norma for all her work on this, and I'm definitely going to get wrong later on at Labour Group tonight. But it's a really great piece of work. I want to thank all the officers as well. From my point of view as the Investment and Resources Cabinet member, the relationship with Janice Gillespie has always been interesting. Janice was our Section 151 officer at North Tyneside Council for a large part this as well, and going with different hats on. I'd go to Janice with my North Tyneside Council hat on in the council, and the answer would be, we've got no money. We have to do X, Y and Z, because council resources have been cut and stretched of all councils over the years. I go and meet with Janice with my combined authority hat on, and the answer was always, oh yes, we've got money for that, we've got a grant for that, we've got money for this. And that is the difference between councils and the combined authority. Councils have been forced year by year to put council tax up, but you'd never need to put council tax up in a combined authority, because the reality is, unless you're offering an additional service beyond what's already in your deal, there shouldn't be any reason, because the funding is there from government. You don't have any core services that you have to fund. You don't have to fund social care. You don't have to fund the really difficult decisions that councils have to make. And it is really a very different experience, but really thanks to Janice and all of her team. I know Katie and others in the team are here, but thanks to them for all their work and the wider combined authority team.
Thanks, Carl. Here. Well done, Norma.
Can I just say something, Chair, if you don't mind, to be quite honest now? On this journey, I've been on this journey, as you know, for 10 years. And it's been a bit like the Grand National, you know. Some hedges were easy, others were extremely difficult. But the really important thing was bringing people together and building that belief that we could do things. And I feel as though I've won the Grand National, to be quite honest, because after 10 years, we're not only closing one combined authority, but we're moving on to another combined authority, which can do even more. And we'll have a louder voice to ask for more for this region. And, you know, we cannot fail working together to see this region grow and develop. These are exciting times. And you did embarrass me, but never mind.
Thanks, Norma. I can't see anyone else indicating. So, Cabinet, of course, based on the comments, does endorse the report and notes the work of the Inclusive Economy Board, the Housing and Land Board, and the VCSC and Community Social Enterprise Group. So thank you, everybody, for that. That moves us on to item 6, which is the Equalities, Assemblies and Objectives report. This is twofold. The purpose is provide Cabinet with the write-up from the Equalities Assembly with the report called Open the Door a Little Wider, and to provide Cabinet with its 3rd annual update on our performance against our equality objectives. Often in public discourse we're told about GDP and growth. None of that is of much use if it's leaving people behind. So everything we do, and we embedded it very early on, was the approach of an inclusive economy. But we've also got to make sure that we hear the voices of the people who are affected, which is why we set up the Equalities Assemblies. And I met them, and senior officers met with them, and a lot of the team met with people and heard their lived experiences. And it was interesting hearing some of the barriers that people face, some of which are not immediately obvious, and some of the fantastic suggestions that came through, which we're now working through with the business community to try and get some of this delivered. The idea of, for example, school time hours, where people can do a job from 9:30 till 2:30 in order that they can go and drop their kids off and pick them up from school. It's things like that that open up employment opportunities for people. And we've run a series of these both in person and online. Inequality is very deeply entrenched, but we're nudging it in the right direction, and it underpins everything we do. So the report is there, and I would urge people to read it. I mean, we've worked with so many other partners on this. I don't intend to enumerate them all. But it does mean that the policies and procedures that we have in place are handing over so that it's there ready-made for those who follow on to stand on our shoulders. I'll leave it there. Thank you. Karen.
Thank you, Jamie. I just think it's an important time, isn't it, in politics, to embrace equality and diversity and inclusion in all its forms. Not just, clearly, an inclusive economic strategy is very, very important, but in all of our policies and in all of our procedures, we've got. Sorry, I'm going to say something political now. But if we've got a government that is hell bent on having culture wars, and invoking the word woke at every opportunity, it's really, really important. It's a moral imperative that we get this right and that we work for the good of all of our communities and all of the people who live in them, and that we are as inclusive as possible, because that way we are as representative of our communities as possible. So I really welcome the report, I welcome the piece of work, and I think it's a really positive piece of work that we can take forward into the new combined authority.
Thanks, Karen. Appreciate that. Thank you, everybody. We're recommended to endorse those reports, the right of the which provides resident and employer experiences and case studies of barriers to work as a result of inequality in the region, as set out in the appendix. And let's just have a quick nod on that one, please. Thank you. And we note the progress on our equalities objectives and wider equality and diversity ambitions as set out in Appendix B. And I can see people nodding on that one as well. Thank you. So that takes us on to the update, the mid-year update on the devolved adult education budget. Over to you, Karen.
Thank you. I'm really pleased to be able to recommend this report to Cabinet today. There's a lot of statistics in this, but they're really good ones, so I'm going to share them anyway. This report provides an update on provision that's been delivered through the devolved adult education budget for the 6-month period from the 1st of August 2023 to the 6th of February 2024. It sets out the adult education opportunities that have been created for North of Tyne residents during the first half of this academic year. So the first statistic, over 22,500 enrolment opportunities have been delivered or are being undertaken to date. Our combined authorities' devolved adult education budget investment continues to reach residents most disadvantaged in terms of poverty and skills. 50% of enrolments are being undertaken by residents with a home postcode in the top 10 deprived wards across our combined authority area. 62% of enrolments are undertaken by residents with no or low qualifications. North of Tyne providers continue to establish a wide range of provision to support unemployed residents to meet individual and employer needs across the region. Another statistic, 76% of adult education budget opportunities are being undertaken by unemployed residents, with 69% of those residents unemployed and actively looking for work. We're working in collaboration with providers to align the budget offer to wider skills investments such as skills boot camps and to promote collaboration with employers in designing courses to meet skill shortages and employment vacancies. Providers have responded well and developed new adult education routes into sectors such as construction, rail track maintenance, transportation and warehousing, welding and engineering and manufacturing technology. Young people aged 19 to 24 account for 14% of learning opportunities in this first half of the academic year. We're seeing an increasing number of young people undertaking GCSE provision in maths and science subjects, and there's also been an increase in those engaged in access to higher education provision. The Level 3 courses for jobs offers continues to grow, with 322 residents currently undertaking Level 3 qualifications in areas such as adult care, vehicle maintenance and electrical installation. Analysis of the profile of residents during the first 6 months of this academic year demonstrates that our adult education budget investment continues to extend the reach of learning opportunities to a broad range of residents. So I'll give you some more numbers. 14% of the adult education budget opportunities were undertaken by young people aged 19 to 24. 57% of the enrolment opportunities were undertaken by women. 59% of enrolment opportunities were undertaken by residents from our black and minoritized ethnic communities, and 22% of enrolment opportunities were undertaken by residents with a self-declared learning difficulty or disability, and that's a statistic I am particularly proud of. 18% of enrolments in the first half of this academic year are being delivered as community learning. North of Tyne continue to recognise the value and positive impact that informal community learning can have. It provides outreach into disadvantaged communities, wraps around support and training to enable learners to succeed and progress. 27% of those opportunities provided through community learning are purposely designed to prepare residents for further learning, and 19% are designed to re-engage and build confidence. So our key priorities for the remainder of the academic year include continuing to monitor provider performance against their funding agreements, working closely with our provider base to develop improved analysis of community learning, particularly with a focus on positive outcomes and value for money, continuing to work collaboratively to better respond to employer skills and talent needs, specifically in the growth and foundation economy sectors, and undertaking analysis and benchmarking of North of Tyne's devolved adult education budget performance in terms of achievement against national achievement rates. I think the report is very well written. It's got a lot of detail in it. I'm sure everyone's read the report. So with that, I take great pleasure in recommending the report to Cabinet Mayor.
Thank you very much, Karen. Has anybody any questions or comments on this report? Norma, please, yeah.
I just want to thank Karen and her team, to be quite honest, because they've been doing some excellent work in some of the communities that never had any help or support for many, many years. And once again, it's down to this combined authority that we're addressing those things. And if this hadn't happened, none of those people would have felt the benefits, or some of them are now in work, to be quite honest, which is really exciting things.
Exactly.
Thank you, Karen. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, and echo Karen's work to the team, who I know how hard you work, often still plugging away when I leave. So thank you for that. And I think just one point to amplify is this is often seen as done for good, sound, moral, compassionate reasons, which stands alone. But it's economic common sense to help people get into work. Our economy really needs it. So thank you, Karen, and the team on that. So Cabinet clearly notes the progress that's been made in terms of the adult education budget delivery for the first half of the academic year. And do we endorse the approach to managing it for the remainder of this academic year? Yes, we do.
Yes, definitely.
Wholeheartedly. Thank you. Straight over to you again, Karen, for the Skills Bootcamp update, please.
Thank you. Again, I'm really pleased to be recommending the second report today. This report provides an update on the performance of the Skills Bootcamp for this financial year. The Skills Bootcamps are one part of the Government's National Skills Fund to help adults train and gain skills quickly to improve their job prospects. They offer free, flexible courses of up to 16 weeks for adults aged 19 or over who are either in work, self-employed, recently unemployed, or returning to work after a break. In February last year, the DFE awarded our combined authority a second grant funding agreement of £9.2 million to support the delivery of Wave 4 Skills Bootcamps in this financial year. Skills Bootcamp provision started in April last year and is delivered in a range of sector areas which include digital, logistics, technical, engineering, construction, green skills and the culture and creative sector. Skills Bootcamps have engaged 765 learners since the beginning of this academic year, bringing the total number of starts over the first 2 financial years of delivery of the bootcamps to 2,254 learner starts to date. Provision in the construction sector has engaged the largest number of learners. This series of skills bootcamps includes a range of practical and theoretical training, including skills to operate a variety of heavy plant equipment used in the construction sector, which, as we know, is a sector with recognised skill shortages. A number of skills bootcamps support the low-carbon economy in terms of skills development in retrofit, energy efficiency installation, smart devices and controls, heat pump installation and electric vehicle charging point installation, and the list goes on. There's also a varied digital programme of skills bootcamps which include introduction to programming, digital marketing and cybersecurity. The programmes offer recognised accredited level 3 qualifications in demand from employers and aligned to job opportunities in our region. And I think that's the really important point to make, that this isn't something that we're doing just because we can or to make sure that the money's spent by a certain date. This is about our local need and our local economy and our local people and making sure that they are all properly aligned. We continue to view the allocation of funding to administer skills bootcamps in our region as an excellent opportunity to build on our approach of creating close collaboration to test, trial and co-develop coherent skills provision that adds value and secures positive outcomes for our residents. We also view this as another step forward in bringing together all direct funding for adult skills, including the flexibility to implement and lead a truly place-based response to the skills needs in the region, packaging together the adult education budget, free courses for jobs and skills bootcamps. Again, there's a lot of detail in the report, which I'm sure everyone will have had the opportunity to read. And with that, I recommend the report to Cabinet.
Thank you, Karen. Any questions on the report, first of all? No, I can't see anyone indicating. I love these. So I'll often go and visit people, and they had me on a forklift truck and all the rest of it. But you see the people, and these are people often of quite low confidence, and they're getting guided not just on how to drive the truck, how to install a heat pump, whatever else it might be. but how to get a job, how to conduct themselves in interviews. And it really is making a difference to people. It's like I say, you know, with everything that's going on in the economy, it's actually great that there's some good news somewhere.
I think there is something also, if you'll forgive me, there's something about the interconnectedness of all of the work that we're doing.
Yeah.
So there is supporting new innovation, new opportunities in the region. That's really exciting. It's high profile. But at the other end, you've got people supporting people into helping their children to learn, building their own confidence that way, so that they can then be brought through and back into the workplace if that's the right route for them. There's something about how we support people who are experiencing poverty, so that they are able to. So something like being able to I can't remember the name of the charity now, but being able to access smart clothing so that you are able to go into an interview feeling confident. All of those things that we're supporting, they're all interconnected and they're all equally important, and they're delivering real results. As Dame Redfern says every single meeting, it's about the people, and this is absolutely about the people. Even though it sounds like very dry numbers, it's not. Every single one of those statistics is a person. That's really important.
That's right, yeah. SmartWorks support women, and Suits You support men. Both very good charities. Thank you. Okay, so we note the performance of the Wave 4 Skills Bootcamp delivery to date, and I'm sure, with a nod please, we endorse the approach to managing the skills bootcamps for the remainder of the financial year. Thank you, Alex. So that's item 9. This is a statement of the accounts, and I'll hand straight over to Janice, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Cabinet will hopefully be aware and remember that we had some delays in signing off the 2021 and 21-22 year-end accounts on the back of challenges within the external audit sector and capacity and technical issues in particular. Thankfully, we have got past those particular challenges. There was a knock-on effect to the timing of publishing the draft statements of accounts for 22-23, which we achieved in October, and we are now approaching the conclusion of the audit of the 22-23 accounts. No material issues have been raised from external audit in respect of the work done to date. The accounts remain a complex document due to the nature of the arrangements we have with NECA and the joint transport arrangements, and then indeed the group consolidated accounts with Nexus. They are not an easy read. As a finance officer, I will admit that they are complex, but they do include a clear statement of the financial position of North of Tyne Combined Authority as part of that. We've included all the relevant documents that are part of the statement of accounts in the report, and we've been through the documents with the audit committee previously in November. And we'll continue to update the committee at their last meeting as well in April in terms of final sign-off. But we're bringing the report through today to ask for delegation to allow the absolute sign-off of the final statements once the audit is concluded.
Thank you very much, Janice. And just for purposes of clarification, in case anybody's watching, the challenges referred to are a shortage of external auditors across the country. So that's something that was entirely beyond our control. Can't see anyone indicating with a question. So do we approve the draft statement of accounts for 22-23, including the narrative report and annual governance statement? Yes, thank you. And authorise the Chief Financial Officer in consultation with the Mayor and Chief Exec to agree any final amendments or changes to the statement of accounts, narrative statement and annual governance statement arising from the completion of the audit by the external auditors after taking account of the views of the Audit and Standards Committee. Yeah, thank you very much, everybody. On to standing item on the agenda, it's always one of my favourites, the investment fund update and funding approvals, because this is all the new stuff we're doing. So I'll hand straight over to Carl, please.
I know you always love hearing from me, Jamie. I know that's why it's one of your favourites on the agenda. We've already looked back at an earlier item agenda at the key achievements of the Combined Authority. But in this report, we're going to look forward as a further progress with the investment fund, maintain momentum, even as we transition towards new arrangements at a regional level. As always, I'm conscious that the update includes projects which have been brought forward under the leadership of all the Cabinet colleagues. The update involves a brief overview of the progress of investments in economic context, a number of proposed new investments including around 9 million of projects based on using NTCA resources, alongside 14 million project approvals being brought forward using early NTCA funding. And I also propose a number of extensions as we transition to a new combined authority to ensure there's no gap in support of businesses or residents. I offer no apologies for this being an unusually long update. Starting with economic context and the investment fund, as set in the report, the latest official data shows that the UK economy remains weak. We are currently in a recession, and all the economy is expected to pick up over the remainder of the year. With a weak economy, pressure on living standards continues and rents continue to rise and mortgage rates remain high. I'm delighted the Combined Authority has been able to continue to deliver against this context. The Combined Authority investments are expected to create 5,377 jobs. Of those 5,377, 2,348 are actual jobs that are in place at the moment. In addition, we've safeguarded a further 1,959 jobs. Turning to our investments. First, just a 7 million capital investment which has been unlocked by the North East Devolution Deal. In our role as the accountable body for the new North East Devolution Deal, we are ensured that the organisation hits the ground running when it's established in May, just like this organisation hit the ground running. Approvals being reported today include funding to support regeneration and cultural renewal in Blythe, North Shields and Newcastle City Centre. And further details are in the paper, but they include supporting the support for a new culture centre, which will enhance Blythe's culture, leisure and even an economy offer, create a new anchor development in the marketplace to attract more people into the town centre. Investment in the public realm to collect North Shields assets along the North Shields Riverside and Seafront Promenade to North Shields Town Centre, improving the local visitor economy offer. And support for 2 cultural facilities in Newcastle, the Boho Arts Facility, which will serve the grassroots creative community and the public, alongside the Tyne Theatre and Opera House, helping return an important historical cultural venue to its former glory. Second, 5 projects which will in total secure almost 12 million of further investment into brownfield housing development. These include the Kelly Yard site in Hebburn and South Tyneside, which will provide 57 new homes and also help unlock the next phase of development. The Clasper Village site in Gateshead, which will include 250 new homes, whilst also creating new green open space. Chandler site in Gateshead, which will unlock 120 new homes on a site which has remained vacant since demolition 9 years ago. A number of sites be brought forward in the North Tyneside, which will deliver 67 affordable homes for social rent. The final housing scheme approvals for Benwell Dean site in Newcastle, with 146 new homes, whilst also supporting the wider regeneration and placemaking ambitions in Benwell and Scotswood. Also in the West End, we're using the Business Case Development funding for the creation of a new urban planning framework for Forth Yards. Third, I'm delighted to be able to report on the final part of the Northumberland Economic Line Corridor. The Northumberland Economic Line Corridor must be the project which more people in the history have claimed credit for, because I don't think anybody hasn't had credit for this at one stage. But Northumberland Line will create a real opportunity to deliver our economic benefits in the southeast of the region, with Cabinet having previously approved 10 million for the Northumberland Line Corridor, 10-point plan to bring forward place-based investments. In addition, 7.5 million of previous investments. Today's update sets out our proposals for the remaining 2.5 million of North Tyne funding. This for the Ashton and Wansbeck Square, contributing to a bigger regeneration project, which will create and attract a modern new gateway to the town, including new public space and a creative community hub. I've also been reporting a number of technical feasibility studies to develop new proposals to further enhance the benefit from the line. Fourth, a new social finance fund. As we are aware, community and other organisations which provide societal benefits play a vital role in our region. But we know that they can struggle to access finance on affordable, repayable terms in the commercial marketplace, often because of their size, scale and the existing funding model evolving needs of the community they serve. Following an extensive process of co-development with Big Issue Invest, Power to Change and the Esme Fairbairn Foundation, we are now able to bring forward the first phase of the programmes, involving a 1.5 million contribution from the North Tyne Investment Fund. The Northumberland Energy Park dock connectivity project which involves design and construction of a new internally Hevel Hall Road with 2.5 hectares of NEP1 operational dock site in Camas, Northumberland. Enhanced connectivity will support investment, growth and job creation in low-carbon industries, particularly in the offshore wind sector. I'm also able to provide updates on the access to our finance programme to support SME innovation, which has previously been discussed by Cabinet. Subject to final agreement between partners, the regional universities and other key innovation anchors will be invited to co-invest alongside the Combined Authority in a new fund. With 10 million of North of Tyne Combined Authority support, this initiative will be on a strong record of collaboration, co-investment, unlock an economic benefit from the commercialisation of research to date, such as the Northern Accelerator. The report also sets out an extension to a number of strongly performing North of Tyne Combined Authority programmes, including our Child Poverty Prevention Programme, Education Improvement Programme, Inward Investment Capacity Fund, SMA Digital Adoption Programme, Dynamo Talent Engine, Tyne Task Force and NU Futures. And finally, a second, deeper devolution deal announced in the spring budget will deliver around £100 million of investment, including an additional 35 million of capital and 2 million for revenue for NTCA to fund local economic priorities. The capital will be used to remediate brownfield sites, paving the way for new investment, whilst the revenue will accelerate regional projects with a focus on regeneration and economic innovation. Colleagues, I hope you agree with me that we're in a strong position for the transition to new Combined Authority, and I really hope all officers around the table will make that transition. I can't say the same about all politicians around the table, because I do hope some of them won't make the transition to the new Combined Authority. But I really thank you for all the work that everyone's done. Thank you.
Thank you, Carl, I think. Has anybody got any questions on the report?
I don't have questions, but I'd just like to show how grateful Northumberland is to have had this extra funding, which is going into some really incredibly innovative projects, which will be of the great benefit to the county and to the region as the years go on. So I just, we've taken them all fairly quickly, and I'm grateful to Carl for that full report. But it just goes to show just how much actually has been invested where we needed to invest it. It's really useful money, so thank you.
Thank you, Glenn. Yeah, Norma, thank you.
Just agreeing with Councillor Sanderson, the fact that when we talk to people about what this is all about and what we want to do, we write reports, they're words, but some of the things that you're talking about there, Councillor, they will actually see them, they will see the difference, but they will feel the difference as well. And that's what's important. You can talk and write and say wonderful things, but unless you can deliver, you're not building credibility. And the kind of things that Carl has just delivered there, amongst all the other things, don't get me wrong, is building that belief with our residents that this can happen and things can change for this region. Thank you.
Thanks, Norma. Here. There's a lot in there, isn't there? 37 million quid. And 37 million quid spent right across the region, across a whole range of different things to do with whether that's creating jobs or building homes or helping some of the most vulnerable people. And the schools work continuing. I mean, I think that's groundbreaking. Heartily well done to everybody involved in that, past and present. Well, let's get on with the business here. So we note the progress to date, item 1 there, on the investment fund, the brownfield housing programmes, ongoing project work, delivering things previously agreed, including job creation for residents. And we note item 2 that the Chief Exec will already have the existing delegations make the final approvals and associated decisions in accordance with those delegations. For the funding awards, the procurement implications for the £36.7 million of project funding designed there. But here's a decision for us. 3, to approve the additional funding allocations for the existing projects and the commencement of a procurement exercise, as set out in paragraph 9, and delegate the authority of the Chief Executive, Chief Financial Officer to finalise arrangements, including where appropriate agreement is needed for a revised delivery plan. Can we approve that, please? Thank you. And number 4, to note for information, the additional capital and revenue funding provided through the North of Tyne for the North East Deeper Devolution Deal and accelerate delivery of regional priorities. So we agree that. Thank you very much. And that takes us to the end of the agenda, because we've already agreed the confidential minutes. And at this point, I normally say the next meeting will be, but there won't be. So thank you to everybody who's been part of this journey. It's been good. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.